Doesn't appear to be yet. Let's see if I'm live on YouTube. Oh, I don't want to hear myself. Hey, looks like I'm live on YouTube, but how to get to YouTube? I'm not sure people will figure that out. What's nice is if you're joining me already, you supposedly can chat in YouTube or Facebook and it will come to me unified, or so they say. Okay, so YouTube is good, so you just have to click it. I don't know why they would do it that way, but that is the way it is. And let's jump over to Facebook. There we are, live on Facebook. Last time I did this, there was seriously a 16-second delay. So I'm not going to be able to look at myself because that will freak me out. All right, so if I join, I know, isn't it complicated? What kind of screen name is that? All right, so I'm going to test it now just to send to all. What duplicates mine? That's silly. All right, so if you're just joining me again, you can chat on YouTube. You can use the YouTube chat. You can use the Facebook chat, and it will all come to me. Oh, YouTube was easy, Marcia? All right. Thank you. It's nice because some people are YouTube people, some people are Facebook people. Hello, hello, everybody. If you're joining me now, how do I tell how many people are viewing it? That's what I'd like to know. All right, YouTube, I've got 17 people, and Facebook, I have 4. So YouTube is winning. What's kind of cool about Facebook, though, is it like, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. It's been a long day. Transcribes. It automatically transcribes because I do tend to talk fast. All right, a few more jumping on Facebook, a few more jumping on YouTube. Welcome, everybody. Just give me a couple seconds if you don't mind, just to let some people figure this stuff out. YouTube was easy. All right, cool. I like my big creepy face in the bottom corner. I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. Thanks, Theo. Howdy. Seems like most people prefer YouTube. All right, just bear with me just a couple more seconds. I just wanna wait for more people to join if you don't mind. I don't know who there's no screen name, but somebody said nothing's coming through on YouTube, and other people are saying it's coming in on YouTube. So yeah, I don't know if you're not on my channel, and I'm actually watching it also on YouTube. So it is there. Wait, how did you chat if it's not on YouTube? Oh, you're doing it through Facebook, but you're on Facebook and you see that just fine, whoever you are. Can I see who it is? I wonder. Oh, Carrie. Yeah, Carrot's on YouTube, but it doesn't matter, I guess. Okay, 3 minutes in. All right, let's just give it 2 more minutes. Thank you all for coming on time, but I just want to, in case this is kind of a new media, so I want to make sure that YouTube's coming in fine. Thanks, Robert. Yes, Mark, you got to click on the video. It's silly, and the thumbnail is silly. I couldn't figure out how to change that either. But you do have to actually click it. There's like a little live thing in the bottom. It is saying that we're live. You just got to click it. Hey, Steve, I literally just saw you like 3 hours ago, didn't I? All right, let's just go ahead and start because most of the beginning is just boring stuff anyway, so doesn't matter, right? All right, cool. Thanks everybody for joining me today. We're going to talk about the 4 tax strategies to keep the government out of your pocket. This is kind of like the one that I do in live seminars, but I kind of abbreviated it to 4. I took out the qualified charitable district. Oh, what if you guys can hear my dog Coco? That's so awesome. Um, I shrunk it down to 4, took out qualified charitable distribution. That got super, super confusing, and I just don't think enough people use it or want to even desire to use it. So I just took that out. So I'm hoping that this is becomes a little bit easier. Quick disclaimer: I could make my big fat head a little bit smaller there. All right. So quick disclaimer: so I am a financial advisor. Okay, I can do business in all 50 states, but I'm not a CPA, nor am I an attorney. Okay, so some of the strategies I'm going to talk about kind of bleed into those areas of the world. So all I'm saying is do your own due diligence if you're going to act on anything that I talk about today. Okay, that's just me protecting my butt. All right, so usually I can't play videos in this format. So this video, if you've come to my seminar before, you know this video. It's this kid playing Monopoly, and he's crying because he has to pay taxes. And everybody laughs, and we all have fun and laughing at the poor kid who's crying because he had to pay taxes. So nobody likes to pay taxes, right? All right, so this is kind of the story that I go into. That boy that's crying about paying taxes reminds me of myself because I did also cry very bad during Monopoly when I'd have to pay too much. But it was also kind of that age when I realized I was obsessed with money. So here's a picture of me going grocery shopping with my mom. I grew up in Emily City. We would go grocery shopping every Sunday at A&P. I would go home, document everything she bought, and I would write it down in my book because I was tracking inflation right at the age of 10. So you could tell I was a crazy little kid. Now I'm a crazy adult who is a tad obsessed with money, the way it works, and how to give less to the government. And then I grew up, moved out of Emily City, got an undergraduate degree in economics from Oakland University, master's degree in finance from Walsh. Um, couldn't get a client to save my life because this is what I was doing. I had met my wife. She's a family practice physician. We bought a clinic up in Romeo, Michigan. So she's up there working the whole time. So what am I doing? Trying to take care of 3 kids, right? So it's kind of hard to start a financial advising business when you're taking care of 3 kids. Um, but oh yeah, just more so you can feel my pain. But really, what changed everything for me and uh, was when I learned about Social Security taxation and how you can keep it tax free. We'll hit on that maybe a little bit today, but that's a whole nother seminar that I do. But that formula and that figuring out how to keep Social Security tax free and how to keep your other income streams and manipulate them properly so it stays tax free is what got me invited out to Williamton, Delaware to do this TEDx talk. You can Google that. I basically kind of under 18 minutes uh, tell you how to structure your assets so you don't have to pay any taxes. And I know you don't believe me, so just go watch the video or come see me in a seminar. Then as my business was growing, I was invited out to High Point University to do a talk out there. Got to meet some cool people. Well, let me just put my head right in the middle of these. Got to meet some cool people. Chris Wallace, Larry King. I could just put my head right over. Okay, whatever. And maybe you see me on local news. I'm asked to come on local news quite a bit. Actually, tomorrow morning I'll be on local news again. CBS Detroit, 8 o'clock in the morning. To get this, to talk about how to save for school supplies. Super riveting. So join me there if you want to watch me tomorrow morning on CBS News. Way back in 2004, I wrote a book called Forget the Casserole. Help Me Deal, Heal, and Live. It was just, I just happened to be working with a lot of widows at the time. Husband usually handles the finances. Women, the widows get stuck with casseroles. So I named the book Forget the Casserole, Help Me Deal, Heal, and Live. So it just helps them delegate a lot of the tasks that they have at that time. The next book was The Coming Inflation Crisis and the 4-Step Action Plan for Retirees. I wrote that after we just got done printing 4.2 trillion in the Great Recession. I thought we'd have a inflation, but we didn't. But it took another 8 trillion during COVID, and voila, right? We knew there was going to be a price to pay for all that money printing. And here we go. We got inflation, right? My latest book, How to Position Your Retirement Nest Egg to Ensure You Don't Run Out of Money Without Knowing a Darn Thing About Finances, is my latest book. I give away that book for free if you come to my seminar. And this is my family. Somehow they made it. Not exactly sure how, but they did. We try to do mission trips every year. El Salvador, Nicaragua, Honduras. My wife and oldest son there just got back from Belize a couple weeks ago. I was there too, helped, but not nearly as much as they did. These are the kind of villages that we visit. This was El Salvador. This is my wife. She was taking care of the oldest person in the village right there. She was 99 years old, looked like she was not going to make it past that day. A week later, we're told that she was out bouncing around. She was just super dehydrated. Did I say she was 99 years old? Her and her husband actually started that village, I heard. This is my youngest. He was being taught all the drugs that were on the table there that we happened to confiscate into El Salvador. And so when my wife prescribed them, he would get them out of the baggies, give them to my oldest son, who would write down how often to take them morning and evening. And my daughter didn't want to be there, so I made her paint everybody's nails. She did not like me. Oh, and here's my wife with Brad Pitt about 9 months ago at a movie premiere. So this is pretty cool. Oh, I should do this. But about 9 months ago, she got to hang out with Brad Pitt. And now I haven't seen her since, but I'm pretty sure she's doing awesome. That's a joke I do in seminars. It's kind of hard to do it when there's no audience. This is at a wax museum. I had to literally pull her off Brad Pitt. Silly, crazy. All right, so enough about that. So here's Bridge River Advisors. We try to be a full service firm. We're on Woodward, just north of Long Lake, by the way. We do assets under management, of course, insurance products, Medicare planning, Medicaid planning. We're using an attorney that doesn't work for me, but we'll bring him up. He works actually in the building that I'm in. If my clients need crisis planning. Did I say estate planning, Medicare planning? Yeah, really, we try to be a full service firm. Okay. When people ask how I charge my clients, I just give them the F word. Stands for fiduciary. How dare you? All right, so that's it. Let's begin. Thank you for bearing with me on that. I usually start to get some messages that people are like, get on with it. We don't want to hear more about you. Okay, so just to recap before we actually begin the official seminar. If you're on Facebook, you can chat down there, and I get it on my unified chat system here. If you're on YouTube, you can do the same, and I will see it. Okay. All right, cool. Let's begin. All right. So when exactly did income taxes begin? Does anybody know? I think because there's a 16-second delay, I can't wait for you guys to jump in here. Oh, 1913. That's right. It became law in 1913 in the 16th Amendment. Thank you, whoever said that about my family. 1913 is when it actually became law. Okay. So, and this was the tax form back then. 1 pager, no back. And whether you were Joe Schmo or J.D. Rockefeller, this is what you filled out, a 1 pager, right? Made no sense. Now, back in 1913, the tax code had how many pages? 4. How about now? What do you think? How many pages do you think? I'm not going to obviously wait for you to chat, but what do you think? I usually get like 3,000, 4,000. How about 83,000 pages? And actually, the most recent edition is about 250 pages. It was a Secure Act 2.0 that became law January 1st, 2023. It was kind of the sister to Secure Act 1.0 that started January 1st, 2020. It was the most drastic changes to retirement planning distribution in retirement planning distribution history. Changed a lot of things. But for the most part, the main thing it did is change the required minimum distribution age, right? RMD, required minimum distribution, is when you're forced to pull money out, right? And guess what? You have no idea what the tax rates are when you pull that money out. Odds are you don't even need that money when you pull it out. It might bump you up into a higher bracket. it might cause your Medicare Part B to go up, and it might cause more Social Security to become taxable. We'll hit on this a little bit later, but if you're looking at your 1040 and you see Social Security, the gross amount on the left, it's the right-hand side of how much is taxable because it's taxed based on provisional income. Something different than everything else. Super complicated formula. Bet you your CPAs don't even know what that is because they have software. But it's important to know because once you know that formula and what's on the left and what's on the right, you know that sometimes every dollar you add with a required minimum distribution or any taxable income, it causes some of that tax-free Social Security from the left-hand side to come over to the taxable side. Okay, that's called the Social Security torpedo tax. It's no bueno. We don't want that. And RMDs cause massive amount of cascading of taxes. Okay, so it moved the required minimum distribution age from 70.5 before 2020. Then 2020, it moved it to 72. In 2023, it changed it to 73. And if you're 75 by the year of 2033, then it's going to be 75 for you. Okay. So basically, this year is the first year. What's interesting is, and I don't think this was on purpose, no, if you did not have an RMD before 2023, nobody has an RMD this year, which is super funny. And I'm pretty sure it was a math mistake by the IRS. They would not have given everybody 1 year off. So if you didn't have an RMD before 2023 and you were due to get one, no one has it this year. Okay, just a little bit tidbit fact that nobody cares about probably. All right, so most people think, well, that's awesome, isn't it? They're letting me not have to take forced withdrawals for longer. That sounds like a good thing, right? Yeah, not always. Why? Well, because the longer you let that money sit in those accounts, IRAs, 401ks, 403bs, 457s, the longer that money sits in there and compounds, do you think that's going to be a bigger problem or a lesser problem when you're forced to pull money out? Bigger, right? Because it's percentage based. Your RMD is percentage based. So it's if you're just going to sit there and not take money out and let it grow and grow and grow, your RMD is just going to be worse. And that's totally fine with the IRS. I did a quick math on my Excel spreadsheet, and waiting causes 18% of more taxes to be paid over your lifetime. Okay, so the only time where it benefits you is some of my clients we're obviously doing conversions from IRAs, 401ks, right, into Roths. We're paying some of the taxes now, so it doesn't sit in these wrong accounts and continue to compound. So when the RMD kicks in, if you've done nothing and you've saved massive amounts of money in your IRA and 401ks, then the RMD alone may cause you to be into a bracket where conversions don't make any sense anymore. Okay, so in that case, it holds off your forced withdrawal so we can do some more conversions, and then boom, the RMD kicks in. Now, with that said, just because RMDs exist doesn't mean you have to stop doing conversions. Okay, you can still do conversions. It's just if the RMD alone bumps you up into a huge high bracket, maybe it doesn't make sense to convert anymore. Kind of a rule of thumb is don't convert if it causes you to go up into any bracket that starts with a 3. Okay, unless you're dead set against or dead for, I don't know if that's the saying, giving your kids or grandkids tax-free money. If you absolutely want to give them Roth money, well, then it doesn't matter, right? Pay the taxes, get it in, boom, you're done. But there's much more to that, right? If you're kind of looking at it as a do I get my money back tax standpoint, obviously it's going to depend on how much tax rates go up, right? But for the most part of all the configuring I've done, if you end up in any bracket that starts with a 3, it doesn't make any more sense. Okay. It's just my rule of thumb. And again, questions, feel free to ask on YouTube or Facebook. You can chat on YouTube. You could also chat on Facebook. And it all comes to me and I see them all. So. All right. So the Trump Tax Act, who did it help? Corporations or you and I? Well, actually both, right? Corporations lowered the top tax rate from 33% to 25%. And you and I lowered it about 4% on average. However, the corporation tax cut was made permanent, right? And you and I have a sunset provision in our tax break. It goes away at the end of 2025. Tax rates go up January 1st, 2026. They actually shrink and go up, right? So that's why we're doing a lot of conversions, because one of the brackets that you're going to end up in, more likely than not, goes up 9% on January 1st, 2026. So that also is no bueno. Okay, so we want to do conversions now. And people always say, if I have to pay the taxes now or later, what's it even mean? What's it matter, right? I have to pay them, I have to pay them. The problem is we want to do it on our schedule, right? Maybe we just want to convert up to a certain bracket and do it on our schedule, on our time. And when we think tax rates are lower, as opposed to letting the money compound in the wrong accounts, IRAs, 401ks, and just get bigger and bigger and bigger and cause a nasty, nasty problem. All right, so here are the 4 tax strategies to keep the government out of your pocket. Why do I want to just make myself so much bigger? Is it an ego thing, you think? I want to make my head really big? All right, whatever. All right, Roth conversions, that's the no-brainers. Obviously, getting money into Roths makes sense, right? Donor advised funds, we're going to talk about that. Great opportunity to, if you're giving a little bit of money to charity, now you can deduct it. Capital gains strategy. Oh God, I thought I saw a typo. I was going to freak out. And then life insurance. And I know what you're thinking, life insurance. Why the heck would I need life insurance? Stick with me, folks. You're going to learn a lot about life insurance. I think it's stuff you're going to want to know. All right, Ada says, what do you think the chances are that the government will go back on its word and find a way to tax us again when we pull money from a Roth when we are 80? So I think it's highly likely that Roths will go away. I think it's highly unlikely that they will change the rules on the Roth being tax-free. What they usually do, they've done this in the past, they will grandfather you in. They will say no more new Roth accounts get open, no more conversions, no more contributions, and they'll just let the Roths slowly die. That's what I think. Mark asks, I have hesitated doing Roth conversions due to current market conditions. Your thoughts, please. Current market conditions are the exact time when you should do Roth conversions. And that's actually going to segue into the number one thing I'm going to talk about. So let's get into that, Roth conversions. All right, so why would you even want to do a Roth conversion? Let's talk about that first, right? Like everybody's talking about Roth conversions, let's do it. Why would you even want to? Here's why. Again, I already kind of hit on this, but tax-free gift to children. If you want to give money to your kids tax-free, this is a great way to do it. Pay the taxes now at what we think is a low rate. Let it grow into a Roth, and when you pass, give it to your kids, completely tax-free money. It's a beautiful thing. Or maybe you want to give it to your grandchildren and not your children, because a lot of my clients, they don't even like their children. They prefer their grandchildren. That was a joke. Okay, so number 2, possible reduction of IRMAA. So I kind of already hit on this as well. What happens is, if you don't do a Roth conversion and you keep it in the IRA and it grows and grows and grows, the required minimum distribution could cause your Medicare Part B and D to go up, because Medicare Part B and D are tied to your income. Okay, so we figure that out when you come in the office. We know exactly what those tiers are, so we make sure that that doesn't happen. But your Medicare Part B and D can actually go up when your RMD kicks in, okay, because it's based on your income. Possible reduction of Social Security taxes. Kind of already hit on this as well. The left-hand side of your 1040 Social Security is gross. That's how much you get in Social Security. But on the right-hand side is how much you're actually being taxed, because they have to go through a provisional income formula to get there. So every dollar of income can potentially cause a dollar from Social Security being tax-free over to becoming taxable. Robert Davis, I've created several backdoor Roths that appear to have worked out very well. Yes, that works out very well, and we'll be talking about those as well. Mark Orlowski says, no, it's not. I don't know what that is about, but maybe I'll help clarify it. We'll see. And then again, number 5, controlled burn of taxes. Okay. That just means we're going to pay the taxes at our schedule. Okay. And not jump tax brackets necessarily, as opposed to just a big RMD coming in and bump us up into higher tax brackets. All right. So that's why we're going to do Roth conversion. Let's just talk about Roth basics. Okay. Let's just bring it down to basics. All right. So, big white screen. I can make my head big. All right. So Roth basics. All right. So Roths were created in 1997. You probably didn't even trust them for the first 10 years. So that's why people don't have a whole lot of Roth money when they come see me. Because you can only contribute little amounts, and you got to be working, and you can't make too much. Well, a bunch of rules, right? So you can get $7,500 a year into a Roth if you're working. But you can convert, say, from an IRA 401k. It's got to be from qualified accounts. convert unlimited. Why would the IRS be totally okay with you converting with no rules? It doesn't matter if you're working. It doesn't matter how much you make. Why would the IRS be okay with you converting unlimited amounts of money? Yes, you guessed it. They get their tax dollars, right? All right, so IR contributions conversion. Oh, the big thing about Roth, of course, is no required minimum distributions. So you never have to pull money out. Government will never force you to pull a dollar out of your Roth IRA. That's huge. But even if you do, it's tax-free. Okay, but I take advantage of that, and I'll show you how in just a minute. Roth basics. Anybody have any questions about Roths? I think that's the main contributions, conversions, RMDs. I think it's good. Continue to ask questions. Like I said, there's a pretty long delay, so I'll get to them if I see them. All right, let's make my head smaller again. Okay. Oh, I knew someone was going to ask this. I'm going to find out who this is. Who asked this question? I had to jump over to Facebook. Joe Kelly. Yes, 5-year clock. Joe Kelly. Oh, should I not be saying names on here? Maybe I shouldn't. All right, Joe Kelly. Yes, I will explain the 5-year rule. Super confusing. Good luck finding the answer on the website. In fact, I had a guy come in and he even brought the printout from the IRS page itself. Still super confusing. This is the 5-year rule. And there's actually 2 5-year rules. That's what makes it more confusing. Nice Band-Aid, Dan. All right, so 3 things can get into a Roth. You can contribute to a Roth, you can convert to a Roth, and then you're going to have gains, right? When you start pulling money out, they come out in a particular order. The first thing that always comes out are your contributions. That always comes out tax-free, penalty-free. I don't care how old you are. Okay. The next thing that comes out are conversions. So once all the contributions are gone, you now hit your conversion money that you converted from a 401k or IRA years previous. That's the first 5-year clock. You just got to be over 59 and a half. That's it. And all that money comes out completely tax and penalty free. Oh, over 59 and a half or 5 years, whichever comes first, basically. Okay. As long as you're over 59 and a half, you're good to do all that money. Okay. So when all the conversion money is gone, then you go into earnings, and earnings has a different 5-year clock. That 5-year clock is you got to be over 59 and a half to get that out penalty free. And you have to have any Roth open for at least 5 years. Okay. So that's the second 5-year clock on earnings. And that's the order of withdrawals. I hope that clarified it. All right. So why shouldn't you convert? So let this one sink in. If the amount that you're going to be required to forcibly take out of your IRA, if it's less than the standard deduction, then why bother converting? We have to figure in pensions and other stuff that affects the standard deduction. But for the most part, to keep it simple, if you're not going to pay taxes on the money coming out of an IRA because the standard deduction is going to offset it, why are you doing a conversion in the first place? Why would you needlessly pay taxes to get into a Roth when you don't want to take money, or if you're going to take money out, it's going to be offset by the standard deduction and you won't have any taxes? Let that sink in for a minute. That one's a good one. Nobody ever talks about that. And again, unless you want to give money to your kids tax-free, that's a whole other thing. So number 2, if you think tax rates are going down in the future, well, then why would you pay taxes now at a higher rate? Although find somebody who actually thinks tax rates are going down in the future. And if you are happy to give more money to the IRS and you are legally required to do so. That's the only other reason. Mazaz says, I'm 63 and plan to work another 6 years. Should I convert my 401k to a Roth? That is a great question. And that is something I deal with all the time. When people are still working, it makes it difficult. So it just depends on how much you're making and how aggressive you want to be and how big your IRA and 401k accounts are. You've got 10 years, right, until you forcibly have to take that money out. So if you're in the 22% bracket, I can absolutely make an argument that you should fill up that bracket with conversions. Okay. If you're in the 24% bracket, that's only 2 percentage points more. I can make an argument that you should go all the way to the top of the 24 and convert some money. But again, it just depends on how big those accounts are, because the only thing you're risking by not doing it is obviously tax rates go up January 1st, 2026. The 10 and the 12 turn into the 10 and the 15 and then 28. And it starts to go up pretty quick. So those are all the things that we got to look at. Conversion money still has a 5-year clock, even after 59 and a half. Conversion money still has a clock, still has a 5-year clock, even that. Oh, no, it's not true. I know what you're thinking. It's just not true. Once you pay your, oh no, well, basically what I said was it's 5-year clock or 59 and a half. Okay, whatever comes first. If you're over 59 and a half and you convert and pay all your taxes, the IRS has no problem giving you your money. Right? So the conversions, all that stuff. True. Very true. John says, if I open a new Roth and I meet the 5-year clock, is that a new Roth tax-free automatically? If I open a new Roth and I meet the 5-year clock, is that new? The earnings, the 5-year window of a Roth being open is only on the earnings. The first thing that's going to come out are contributions. The next thing is all your conversions. So you may not even have to ever worry about the earnings. Okay, but that's a different 5-year clock. Okay. Okay. Oh, the 5-year clock guy disagrees with me. That's cool. Whatever you want to believe. All right, let's move on. All right, so here are the 5 different Roth conversions. We've got bracket bumping, market timing, backdoor, mega backdoor, SEP IRA. All right, so bracket bumping, pretty straightforward. The whole goal here is when we do conversions, right, it's all taxable. If you're working, we have to add that onto income, your wages, Social Security, all that stuff. So when we do conversions, we just want to make sure, if we can help it, not to jump tax brackets. Even if we do, it's not end of the world. We have a progressive tax system. So even if you're $1 over the bracket, it's not like you're going to make everything that, taxes at that bracket. Okay. We're progressive, meaning you're still going to get taxed 10% on the first tier, 12 on the second, 22 on the next, blah, blah, blah. Okay. What I like to show about this bracket is something that I love to do that I don't see a whole lot of financial advisors doing, is a lot of time when you first retire, you're in the 12% bracket. I see this a lot. You're between your Social Security and the fact that not most of it's taxed, and then you're taking a little bit of money out of your IRA, standard deduction offsets a lot of it. So you're in the 12% bracket usually. I absolutely, every single year, want to fill up that 12% bracket with conversion money if I can. Fill that puppy up 12%. You will never pay 12% again on your money, ever, ever again. That is my opinion. Okay. And once that December 31st ends, that year is over and you cannot convert. Okay. That year. You have to wait till the next year. Okay. So it's important that we get on that. Okay. Moving on. The next bracket in bracket bumping, Roth conversions. And I kind of already talked about this. We just want to make sure we don't go over these tiers when converting either, because that's when your Medicare Part B and D go up. Okay. And this one's not so nice. This one, you go $1 over and your Medicare Part B premium will be higher that year. Okay. And that will adjust the next year based on 2 years prior. You can see it. This is 2023 IRMA brackets. And it's looking back 2 years previous for your 2021 modified adjusted gross income. Someone says, because there is a possibility that tax brackets are going up after Trump tax changes expire. Okay, I'm not sure what that's talking about there, but okay. All right, so that's bracket bumping. Usually don't get a whole lot of questions on that. That's pretty straightforward, right? Next one is market timing. Okay, so this is somebody already talked about, like in today's economy or today's market, does it make sense? I don't know who said that. Oh, Mark. So here's the thing. All right, so join me. Don't look at the green boxes yet. Oh, maybe I'll just put my fat head over them so you won't see them. Okay, so the blue. Right. The blue box. How do I make this? Yeah, the blue box. So let's pretend that that's your IRA value, okay? Before the market correction, so 2021, okay? Obviously, during the market correction, right, the account value became smaller. I don't want to get too technical on you, right? But it became smaller. So the idea is, would you rather pay, if you're already planning on converting at some point, would you rather pay taxes on the blue amount or the green amount? Obviously the green, right? So as the account value goes down, that's the time to convert, right? Because we convert to a Roth, pay lesser taxes. And then when it comes back in the Roth, it all comes back tax-free, right? As opposed to not tax-free in the IRA, right? Tax-free. The recovery comes back in the Roth, not tax-free if you left it in the traditional IRA. Okay, so not rocket science here, but a lot of people don't think about that. And a lot of people also think that you have to convert the entire IRA or maybe all the cash when you don't. You can actually cherry pick a particular stock if you want to, or ETF or mutual fund. So even if Apple comes down significantly, you can just pick Apple. You can pick a certain amount of shares of Apple, convert that to a Roth, pay lesser taxes. And then when Apple comes back, like, boy, did it come back, it'll all come back tax-free. Pretty snazzy, isn't it? Well, Robert says, I've created several backdoor Roths that appear. Oh, you already said that. Oh, I scrolled up. Okay. All right. So pretty straightforward. If you have an account value of this amount and it comes down, would you rather pay taxes on the smaller amount than the bigger amount? Yes, of course you would. But get that over and let it come all back tax-free. Pretty cool. Okay. So that's market timing Roth conversions. Here's the backdoor one who talked about this? Robert D. Okay. Although I can tell you, Robert, CPAs tell me to stop talking about the backdoor Roth because it is, it's a lot to it. There's a lot to just get 7,500 into a Roth if you're making too much. But let's talk about it. You all deserve to hear about it. All right. So the idea here is, remember when I told you before, contributing to a Roth, there's lots of rules, right? You got to be working, got to be making money, and you can't be making too much money or you can't even contribute. So a lot of my higher wage earning people who are still working can't contribute, right? So look over the green box. That's a traditional IRA. There are no rules. Doesn't matter how much you're making. Okay, you can contribute to an IRA. So the idea here is we contribute to the IRA because there are no rules. I don't care how much you're making for my higher wage earning people, and then convert it immediately to a Roth because there are no rules to convert. Remember I said that in the beginning? So that's pretty cool. That's how you get money into a Roth if you're making too much money. Okay. So the problem is you can only do 7,500 at a time, right? Whatever your name is. Robert? No. Yes, Robert. So you can only get so much money in at one time, right? So you're doing 7,500. You got to file extra tax forms. You got to use the pro rata thing. So, you might have to pay taxes to convert to a Roth, even though you weren't able to deduct the contribution because you have a ton of other money in IRA. So you got to prorate it and convert it. And you can make an argument it's double taxation. Lots going on there. But, if you want to do it and you can make an argument, works for me. What are they going to say about conversions? I don't know. But they were talking about taking this off the chopping block at one point, backdoor. So that might not be around much anymore anyways. Okay. Mega backdoor. How's that for a name? Mega backdoor. All right. So you may or may not have options to this. It's if you're still working. Okay. So this is kind of nichey. So you may not be able to do this, but basically, if you got access to a 401k, 403b, 457, and you are able to contribute to the maximum amount, which is 30,000. I think it's 30,000 if you're over 50. I think I should probably clarify that. Anyways, you can get 30,000 in 2023, but you can also, some employers allow you to do this. You got to check your employer, but they allow you to put more than the maximum in. It's not tax-free. It goes into the pre-tax amount. So it's not like you can deduct that amount. But what do you suppose we can do with that excess 43,500? Yes, we can get it into a Roth. Oh, yeah, we can get it into a Roth. Okay. So that's pretty cool. So that also was on the chopping block a couple years ago. Last year? I think it was a couple years now. So if you've got this or your kids got this, and they can afford to, contribute that much money, it's a great way to get money fast into a Roth. Okay. Very, very cool. Robert says, I always put post-tax money in the conventional IRA and then convert it to a Roth as soon as the conventional funds. Yeah, you can do it right away. You don't have to wait. The IRS a couple of years ago, we weren't quite sure, but they clarified that. They said, yeah, that's fine. You don't even have to wait. Just contribute, convert the next day. Okay. Any questions on Mega Backdoor? Can't imagine why you would. SEP conversion. Okay. So this is basically SEP IRA. For those of you who don't know, SEP stands for self-employed. So it's an IRA basically for those. Now this still says conversion. I must have grabbed an old one because I did correct that at some point. Sorry, SEP conversion. So SEP IRA is for people who are self-employed. So you can still be working, making W-2 wages. But if you got some side gig and you're making some money, you can put $66,000 into a SEP IRA. Okay. And then of course, immediately convert it to a Roth. So again, just another way to get a lot of money into a Roth. Because if you don't have a SEP, you can only contribute $7,500 a year if you're over 50, right? That way there is no tax event. I always put post-tax money in the conventional IRA and then convert to Roth. But Robert, you have to also look at if you have other IRA and 401k money, because they have to include that as well in how they tax your conversion. It sounds like I got a lot of crazy people on my feed today doing some wacky IRS stuff. All right, that's the SEP conversion. Next one. Oh, so that's all the conversions. All right, so that's my conversion talk. Any questions on that while I drink my glass of water? Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Somebody just texted me test. Better be none of you yahoos. Okay, let's get rocking and roll. Next one, donor advised funds. What the heck are they? Why are we talking about them? Let me tell you why. So when Trump got rid of the Obama's tax rates, he got rid of the personal exemptions and just gave us one big fat standard deduction, right? And here are the standard deductions right here. 2023, don't even look at 2022. 2023, we've got, I'm sorry, I just feel like I have to do that. You're given $13,850 if you're single, $27,700 if you're married, filing jointly. What is the standard deduction? It's a deduction the IRS gives us to offset income. So it's so high that people are finding that they cannot any longer deduct their contributions, right? If they give $5,000 to a church every year, they can't deduct it anymore because they can't itemize and get above $27,700. Okay. So what do we do about that? Well, let me show you. Just be patient. All right. So, well, basically, donor advised fund is it's an account, just like any other account. I can manage the money for you. It grows tax-free. And then you just tell me how often and how much to give to your charity. And we do it for you. And we do the due diligence to make sure that they're a charitable foundation and blah, blah, blah. All right. So here's let's say this is what you were doing on the left-hand side here. Okay. So right here. So $5,000 a year contributing to, say, your church. Okay. You can't deduct that because of the standard deduction. So what do? Well, we can bunch up what we were planning on giving to churches or whatever in the next 5 years. So 5,000 a year, we bunch it all up. It's called bunching. Crazy, right? And we put 25,000, say, into a non-qualified assets, non-Q, basically non-IRA money. Okay. So the idea is we throw that into a donor advised fund. Okay, so a donor advised fund is something we throw the 25,000 in there, and guess what? You get a $25,000 deduction in the year you do it. How is that for an amazing deduction? Okay, so you add that on to maybe mortgage interest and other stuff, and you can deduct way above the standard deduction. Obviously, 25,000, you could put in as much as you want, 30, 40, 50, 60, and get a huge fat deduction. Put it into a donor advised fund, grows tax free. You can pass it to your heirs. They can't spend it. They can continue the charitable stuff that you set up. Okay. And I put on here gets transferred yearly to charity. You don't even have to do it yearly. There's no rules on how often you have to do it. So isn't that cool? So let's say you put $40,000 into a donor advised fund, you get this $40,000 deduction, and we do some IRA conversions to Roths, and now we're not paying taxes on some of these conversions. So it can totally make sense, especially if you're already giving money to a charity and you're no longer deducting it. Okay. Super, super cool. And something you might want to consider. Okay. If you forget what donor advisor stands for, that DAF, you can always remember it stands also for Dan is an awesome financial advisor. None of you believe that, do you? Okay, donor advice funds. Any questions? Let me know. But I'm going to move on to capital gains strategy. All right, so the idea behind capital gains strategy is, I put this slide in here because it's come up a lot recently. All right, so capital gains is the tax that you pay, right, on any money on the selling or profit selling of a non-retirement account, right? Obviously, money coming out of an IRA, 401k, SEP, simple, all that stuff, it's all taxed. It's just regular income. However, in your non-retirement account, it's taxed completely different, right? So the money coming out of all those accounts are taxed as capital gains. And this is how we take advantage of it. So you can see all the way to the right there. Well, we don't have to, we can do single, but basically you can have capital gains of 89,000 bucks married and not pay any tax on. So let this sink in for a minute. People think, well, that's great. I can live on that for 1 year. No, think about this. You could have owned, let's say you bought Apple 5-10 years ago for 50,000. Now it's worth 200,000. Oh, that's a bad example. 50,000 and now it's 120,000. So we could sell $120,000 of that Apple and pay zero taxes because the gain is less than that 89,250. Okay, so we got to figure out when that's 0%. Obviously, if you go above that, we're paying 15%, right? And that goes all the way up to $500,000. 15%. Okay, you go with that, it's 20%. But the idea is here is, well, how do they tax that capital gains? So there's someone blowing up my phone that's not supposed to. Is the calculator real online? It is, but I got to get you the link, whoever texted me that. So the idea is here is you can get this special zero rate on capital gains, but there can't be any other income. So you almost got to look at it as if you've got any other income, it's going to fill up that 0% bracket first. So for instance, if you're married and you've got regular income of 89,000 bucks, you've only got 250 bucks of a capital gain that you can pay 0% tax on. And then the next is going to be 15%. Get it? So your regular income always fills up the bucket first, and then capital gains issues raised to the top. Okay. So, but 15%, that's still not horrible. But, and this is usually when, what happens when this comes up. So when people first retire, let's say they want a big income, they also want to convert. Oh, and then we got to come up with taxes to pay all that conversions, right? So we got to add all that up and we got to somehow keep it under 24% bracket. Usually doesn't work. So what we got to do is, what I've been taking advantage recently is the fact that like CD rates and money market rates are so good right now. We can free up some money, maybe ladder it in some of these shorter term instruments to create income for us for the next couple of years. So we show zero regular income and we can convert massive amounts of money. But also in the year they retire or whatever, we may be taking advantage of non-retirement money and freeing up some money that we can live on also that are going to be tax-free. So we'll go back, we'll look at the what you bought stocks at, right? We want to make sure that the amount that is taxable and making sure and laddering it with if maybe you're at a loss and we can do some tax loss harvesting and free up a lot of cash and not cause a tax issue, stuff like that. So basically what I'm saying is, and maybe there's on many holdings that you don't have to pay any taxes on it because the stock either has gone up and come down and stay the same, whatever. We have to do an analysis to see how we can free up some income so we can live on that. So you can do lots of conversions. Okay. So capital gain strategy is involved in that. Okay. So I want to get out some money. And even if we can't do tax loss harvesting or get some money out tax-free, we can at least pay 15% on it. That's still not horrible. And then once we do that and we convert and we're in the 22 or the 24, marginally we're in the 15 or 16. So it's almost like no matter what you do, you're going to be paying off 15 to 16% on your taxes. Okay. No matter what strategy we employ, we just got to do it properly. And again, I really think that we're going to be looking back in 5, 10, 20 years and say, wow, 15%, that's amazing. Right? Because somehow we got to pay for all this that we've done. All right, I think I'm rambling a little bit. All right, capital gain strategy, any questions? Doesn't look like it. All right, moving on. Life insurance. I think this is the last one. Yeah, last one. All right, so I know what you're thinking. Why the heck do I need life insurance, right? Well, because you're probably not familiar of how it's taxed, how money's taxed inside life insurance. So there's something that's called a cash value, which means it's the amount that you've overfunded it by. The life insurance company does need some money to give you the death benefit. However, we're going to give them way more than they need because that's going to grow for us like a Roth. It's going to grow tax-free, and I can take it out tax-free. More on that later. I can invest in the market. It all grows tax-free. So a lot of good things that I can do with that overfunding of money because it almost acts kind of like a Roth. It's not a Roth, but it kind of acts like a Roth. Okay. And the money that you overfund it, well, heck, I can use that for anything I want, anytime I want. Okay. The death benefit, though, remember I told you we got to give them some money for the death benefit. Why would we want that? Because the death benefit can be used for long-term care completely tax-free. That's why you might want something like this. Robert says, can you comment upon the rules for capital gains tax for the sale of precious metals such as gold? Yeah, I really don't know much about that, to be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't sure exactly that capital gains was different for gold. I guess I just don't really, I haven't been exposed to that very much. So I'm going to do a quick search, capital gains on precious. If you still holding them or more than a year, you'll be subject to a higher capital gains of 28%. I guess that answers your question, doesn't it? You got to hold on to it for more than a year, and it's not regular capital gains. It's higher. It's at 28. That's kind of crazy. That's stupid. My apologies for not even knowing that, but it just doesn't come up that often, I guess. And really, to be honest, I can't even hold precious metals in the custodian account for my clients anyway. So, all right, anyways. All right, so life insurance. Why would we want to use the death benefit for long-term care? Well, do you guys know how much it costs in the state of Michigan to be in a long-term care facility? Average is about $8,000 a month. It's a lot of money. So if we can kind of move money from one pocket to the other and create a bucket of money that we can use for long-term care, maybe not a bad idea. So this is basically how it works. Okay, so premiums, I don't like calling them premiums because people think that they're payments that have to be made. Universal Life is very flexible. So we're putting money into this bucket, right? We're giving them a ton of money. That's called the cash value. That's the money that's growing in the market for Universal Life. For whole life, it's just you just get a guaranteed rate of return. Okay, I'm going to be talking about Universal Life today. So it's growing in the market. You can use it anytime you want. Bring it out. But see that little spigot down there? See that little spigot? So that spigot pays for your death benefit. Okay, the insurance company, it's a life policy, got to have a death benefit. But we want that because that's our long-term care coverage. And in the beginning, the fees, how I try to structure these is I make sure that the fees in the first year, that's the highest the fees will ever be because the life insurance is front loaded and then the fees actually come down. So what I do is I structure it so the fees in the first year are about what you pay for a long-term care policy. So that's not too bad. So here's how it works. Look on the left-hand side. Don't look on the right-hand side just yet. Maybe if I make my head big enough, I'll cover it up. Can't really cover it. But anyways, so look on the left-hand side here. So the cash value is the magenta. That's how much you're giving the insurance company. It's growing in the market. It's growing nicely, right? But you can see the death benefit, boom, you get immediately. And that's what you can use for long-term care completely tax-free. That's why the fees are more in the beginning, right? Because the life insurance company's on the hook for a lot of money, usually somewhere between $200,000 to $300,000 if you die right after. All right, so the fees are higher, but the fees are based on the corridor. Look at the corridor. The corridor is the blue area. So as your cash value grows inside of this account, your corridor gets smaller and smaller, so the fees actually go down. Okay, so when you're in your 80s or 90s, you're paying about $800 a year. And you've got a long-term care policy. You've got this Roth on steroids that's growing completely tax-free. We can take it out tax-free. So it's pretty cool, right? So if you can see on this side, I don't have to do that. I know I don't. I'm just having fun. You can see that the fees actually go down, right? The fees go down as the cash value goes up over time. And that's the exact opposite of how IRAs account or 401ks or brokerage accounts or anything really, right? As the assets grow, you're going to pay more in fees, either based on the assets or if you got a guy like me managing it, It's based a percentage on how much on your account, right? So the fees actually go up. Life insurance, they go down. Ada asks, are there Roth accounts that have funds in cryptocurrency? Oh, I got a lot of them. Yeah. That have accounts that have funds in cryptocurrencies. Yes, you can open up a Roth and invest in cryptocurrency. Just not your crypto guy, okay? I mean, I invested in Bitcoin and Coin, which is, you're right, the publicly traded exchange. But I think you're probably talking about crazy stuff like cryptocurrencies. All right, so let's go on to the next one. I've only got a few more slides here, guys, so thanks for bearing with me here. So you can see on the left-hand side there, right? IULs, that's indexed universal lives, which basically means the money that's growing in the market, but you never lose any money. So it grows tax deferred, it can come out tax-free, heirs get a tax-free death benefit, and the fees actually decrease, right? Now look at money that's in a 401k. It also grows tax deferred, but it's all taxable upon withdrawal, right? There's obviously no long-term care protection. It's all taxable to heirs, and the fees actually increase, right? So my point only is that don't assume life insurance is crap. Maybe give it a second look, okay? Especially if you want long-term care coverage. And then one of the last slides, this is how I use life insurance a lot of times in my firm, is see on the left-hand side, you got a bunch of IRAs, 401ks, whatever. Let's say you're totally on board, you want to convert to Roths. Let's say we decide $50,000 makes sense. So we're going to start converting $50,000 every single year. Okay. All right. Momentary technical issues. Okay. So let's say we're totally on board getting $50,000 a year. What if we put $25,000 into a Roth and $25,000 into life insurance? Why would we do that? Well, it's basically the same thing, right? If we get $50,000 out of your IRAs or 401ks or whatever, we're going to pay tax on it no matter what we do with it, whether we convert it into a Roth or put it in life insurance. Why would we want to put it in life insurance? Because we get an instant huge death benefit that if we need long-term care, great, we got a tax-free bucket of money we can use. But if we die day after we do a conversion and we put money into our life insurance, our spouse or kids gets a huge bucket of tax-free money. Okay, so it's a pretty cool option. And once it's in this cash value, you can borrow against it. You can be your own bank. You can do a ton of amazing things. So don't freak out just by the word life insurance. Okay. Because when you borrow, do I get into this? When you borrow against it, and let's say you borrow, but your plan is to pay it back. You're paying back money on simple interest on a decreasing loan amount. But guess what? You never even really touched your money. The insurance company lent it to you. So you still have your money that's compounding in your portfolio. So bunch of cool things, but it doesn't matter. But life insurance can be a powerful, powerful thing. All right, so those are the 4 strategies. If anybody feels like this girl, if anybody feels like this girl, a little overwhelming, I get it. I'm here to help. We do a full analysis if you ever come into the office. We first see that report on the right-hand side there. So we figure out what your gap is. That's that second column from the right. And we figure out how to fill that gap. And then what we do is we say, okay, so we know how to fill that gap. What accounts are we going to fill that gap? And what tax strategies are we doing behind the scenes? Because we want that gap eventually to be tax-free if we can do it. So just a lot of cool stuff like that. Okay, if you ever want to make an appointment, this is how you do it. If you care to, you can jump on over to calendly.com. Say that 5 times fast. calendly.com/Bridge River. My calendar will pop up. You have direct access to my calendar. You can book a 15-minute phone call. You can book an office appointment. I'm on Woodward, just north of Long Lake. Or if you're out of town or do not want to come to my office, you can book a Zoom. So you can do whatever you want. 785-37. Yeah, that's right. Or just call. One of the Kims will answer. Or Kristen. I only hire people with first initial of K. Somebody will answer the phone. And they'll get you on my calendar and we can talk. No, oh God, it's been a long day. No obligation, of course. Pretty low key. If I can help, I'd love to do it. If I can't, I'll tell you because I'm pretty busy and I don't need to waste your time. You don't want to waste my time. Okay. But I'd love to help you if I can. There's never a fee to meet with me. I kind of look at that as an investment in our relationship. And if I can help, awesome. If not, no biggie. But we'll meet. We'll meet again after I get all your information, and we'll put together a full plan, and we'll go over how my fees work. My fees they're really not that bad. Okay, pretty low. And if it makes sense, we do it. If not, again, like I said, no big deal. That is all I got. So thanks, everybody. Can we watch this again on YouTube? Yes, I believe it stays on my YouTube unless I delete it. Mark asks, would you review an existing trust? I don't, but I will. I could get it to an attorney, although I don't think attorneys like to do that. They don't like messing with someone else's trust, but we can certainly do that. Robert, good information on universal. I only recently became aware of the potential. Yes, exactly. Because a lot of times people say life insurance. Oh my gosh, it's a life insurance agent trying to sell me life insurance. No, no, no. But there's actually some really good benefits to life insurance. I have a policy for me. I've opened up one for my wife. We're funding the heck out of it because guess what? That's going to be how I get tax-free money because I can't contribute to Roths, either can my wife. So life insurance is going to be the way we're doing it, and conversions later in life. Thanks, Marcia. So jump over there to make an appointment if you'd like, or call the office. We'll be here to help if we can. You're welcome, Tony. I'm always doing live events, so just go to my website. Oh, I should put my website on there too, but I didn't. Bridge River LLC. Well, you know what? I'll type it in the link here. How about that? Bridge River LLC.com. Calendly. So that's, first of all, bridgeriver.com. That is where I'll be speaking live. You can go to my website and just go to live events or something like that. And you can see where I'll be speaking live. You get a free dinner with that one. You didn't get free dinner for this one, did you? And then for my link to Calendly, calendly.com/Bridge River. Okay, so there's another link if you want to go there. Calendly, yep, to book an appointment. 15-minute phone call, Zoom, come in the office, whatever you want. No obligation, super low key. There's never any high pressure sales or anything like that because who likes that? Who wants that? All right. Does anybody have any other questions? I still have 44 people on YouTube. How many on Facebook? 9 on Facebook. So YouTube clearly is the winner. That's cool. I didn't know. Thanks, Kathleen. There is a delay. So I'm like all done and I go back to YouTube and Facebook and it's still playing. Boy, I really didn't think it was going to take an hour. That's crazy. You know, there's some stuff I'm not seeing in my unified chat. Marcia says, do you like Lincoln Financial? Yeah, Lincoln Financial's great. They're fine. They got some good products, but there's a lot of products that they don't do as good as others, I would say. Thanks, Carmen. Thank you, Zaz, whatever your name is. Thanks, Mark. Oh, the comments on Facebook are hidden. Thanks, Kevin. Mark says, I like this better than live. Between you and I, Mark, so did I. Because now I can just go right out here and kiss my wife and pet my dog and go to bed if I wanted to. I may start doing this like just every once a month or something. I don't know. I guess it depends on how it works. Thanks, Mark. Good night. All right, I think I'm getting out of here because I don't see any reason why I should stay on.